permeable, semi-permeable, or non-permeable?
Permeable.
Permeable, right? You shoot through a wood door, or glass, or foam, or whatever it is. So I'm just gonna be aware of that. But like, if I give my position away, cough, sneeze, trip, you know, my shit is all jangly, whatever, I can get blasted through the door before I see anybody. Coming around, I'm just walking normally. I'm gonna take like one step, and now I can see into that room through just a sliver. What I can see is now cleared space, right? As long as there's nobody there. Now that I have some space clear, I'm going to jam a line on the close edge. In this case, it's the door itself. So I'm not looking straight through that gap. I'm aligning my eyes, my reticle, and my gun on this close edge, and I'm gonna hug that edge the entire time. Because again, that threat area is now, you know, a tiny little percentage in this deep corner and mostly in this negative space. With me so far? Sweet. So I'm coming around, I'm jam a line. I'm gonna stay jam a line as I come around. I'm assessing threats. I'm only moving as fast as I can process visual information. Speed is not helpful if you just run past the target and that guy blasts you in the side because you weren't able to process that he was there. I'm coming around. I'm gonna see the vaguest hint of a target. It's just the side. In this case, all targets are shoot targets for this exercise. Because we're not doing skills in conjunction with positive identification. Skills in isolation, we're only addressing this threshold. My eyes and gun are jam aligned on this inside track. So I'm gonna catch a piece of that target before I see the whole thing. And again, ideally, before he sees any of me. From here, I can engage that target, bang, bang, bang. Target's down, I'm gonna keep moving to clear more of that space, staying jam aligned the entire time because all of this other space now is clear. Moving, 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 second target, bang, bang, bang. I'm gonna get as far as I can to see into that room, and now I've collapsed all of that dead space, that unknown space, into just this far corner that I couldn't see from there, and that far corner that I can't see because there's a wall in my way. That's all we're doing for this skills and isolation section, is just practicing that pie and staying jam aligned as we move around. There are targets in here, don't worry about dropping the hammer, don't worry about taking a weapon off safe, because again, weapons manipulation is its own skill in isolation. Addressing a threshold is a skill in isolation, and if we start putting these things together, then now it's skills in conjunction. We're not doing that. It's just the act of pieing around and staying jam aligned. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Sweet. So don't worry about dropping the hammer, don't worry about shooting anything, we're just, there it is, yep, saw it. We're moving on. Nice, good jam line. There you go. Perfect, next up. There's target, nice. Jam line, good, 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 good. There it is. Nice. Now, this is a great example of the considerations of having that longer barrel with a can on it. By the time you finish that pie, there's about just a little bit of sticking out right there. And so again, if there's a guy in that corner or a guy in this corner, he might see that. And so we're just gonna take that little bit more offset and come on that pie. Good, target, jam line, target. There you go. Nice. So again, yeah, having that shorty rifle, right, you can afford to be closer. You wouldn't necessarily want to, but you have more of that margin there. Okay. See what you can see. We're going to jam line on that close side. There you go. Target. There's the target. Nice. There you go. Did you find yourself at any time looking through the center of the door? Or did it feel like you were always lined up on that one side?
I feel like I was pretty lined up.
Awesome. Nice.
Target.
Sweet. Okay, one, and this is super nitpicky because I know because we can do that. You're coming around, right? So you hit that first target. You're still jam line, which is good, but your hips are shifted out a little bit.
Okay.
So you're behind your gun, which is good, but now this is all exposed before the barrel is going to be exposed. We're shifted here, now you're leading with the hip, if you're getting shot in the hip, that would suck, right? So if we're moving this way, we would almost want You want to be aligned, but you would almost want to cant in the
Can't,
other direction.
can't this way.
Exactly, so the barrel is what's presented first, then the negative part of your body.
Mud.
Sweet. Target, nice. Target, there you go. Smooth. And we're only moving as fast as your brain can process information. Go ahead and stand right here for him. Right, so he's getting ready to pie, he's getting ready to take this tour. I'm standing somewhere in there. I can't see his body yet, but what's an indicator that I might have that someone's coming?
The shadow.
Shadows, 100%. That shadow's a dead giveaway, right? My ears could be ringing from, soften the target with artillery or bangers or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm freaking out because I'm about to get into a gunfight and so all the blood's in my ears, I can't really hear too good, but I can see that shadow all day. That lateral movement is always something human eye is gonna pick up. You can't do anything about it, but it's something to keep an eye on, especially when we're already looking at like a permeable surface, right? If this whole thing was like plywood and a drywall, right? The second I'm seeing it from that guy, I'm a bad guy. The second I see that shadow, I'm blasted. I'm gonna paint this whole wall, right? Because I'm a bad guy. As a good guy, probably don't do that, right? But as a bad guy, as soon as I have any indicator that someone's coming in here, they're getting blasted through that permeable surface. You can't do a whole lot about it. You can only do your best to mitigate all of these things, but it's something to be aware of just knowing the indicators you were giving, sound, shadow, right? All these different elements that the human brain is gonna pick up. So now we're gonna introduce another element, which advances us sort of to skills in conjunction, but I want each person in this two-man team to be focused on their own movement, so it's still skills in isolation. We're gonna do two-man teams. The one man, what threat level is the one man focused on?
One. First.
Tier 1 threats, right? That first immediate threat. So as you're coming around, that one man is looking in that room, he's doing exactly the pie that we just talked about. He's looking for those threats. What does that mean the two man is doing?
Hold long.
Long and rear.
There you go, right? That second tier threat, that next level. In this case, it's that uncleared space this way because the one man is clearing space around this way. The last thing you want is for your one man to come around and be like, cool, it's a low percent that there's a bad guy there, but then he moves around here, you can't see in that room anymore, and that guy moves over and blasts you outside. So we have a second man who's addressing that second tier threat, which is that uncleared space. So as the two man, as we're rotating around doing this, that's your job, is to pie around, right, get that good angle deep into that room, and then hold that corner while the one man is moving around. You're still doing your own thing, it's your own skill in isolation, but now we just get two people moving together as a team. As one man, right, I've seen that little sliver into the room, I'm jam aligned, I'm coming around. As soon as get into that corner, right, he's gonna hold that corner, he's using cover where he can. I'm gonna continue pieing around, but now nobody is sneaking up on me or us from that corner that I could not see. There's a couple options here. So one, chose to advance onto the barricade or onto the obstacle. Perfectly fine because the walls are what? Non-permeable, right? Door is permeable, but it's such a small sliver that the wall is doing most of the work for that cover. Another option would be for him to stay way further back so that he can win that angle looking into the room. If someone crosses into his vision, it kind of doesn't matter because the only thing that's showing is the barrel anyways, right? That person has no choice but to walk in front of his line. Later on, when we talk about actions in a room, we'll talk about reasons why you might want to do one or the other, but for now, it's up to you. Not really a wrong answer. He was holding that security as the one man, I just did what we just did. Oh yeah. With this guy, we work together so often in so many different contexts that I can hear his breathing change when he's about to take a step. Right? Even with all this other chaos going on, I know exactly what he's doing. We were at an army school in different, like, big open bays where everybody's all sleeping in bunk beds or whatever. I had like a towel and like a tarp or something set up. It was like this little private space, but I could still see into the aisle between the bunk beds. There's 150 people in there, right? It's loud, there's a ton of shit going on. I happened to glance up from my phone for 1 second, and I saw him from the knees down, and I was like, oh, Jennings is coming. Like, no other indicators. We're all wearing a uniform, right? Everyone's wearing the same boots, whatever. It's just like, nope, knees down. I know the waddle. I know exactly who that is. Yeah. It's these tiny little things of just building teams, building time together, training together, knowing what's going on. something where, even if it's just time together, where you know exactly how that person moves, you know that that's not a bad guy, that's my buddy. I know exactly what he's doing, right? I can hear I can hear the sound of his footsteps, he knows the sound of my footsteps and breathing, right? We can't see each other, and he hears,
Yeah.
what is, like, he knows exactly what just happened.
And we're not just saying this, like, learn your shit, but this is kind of the case with anyone that you can 100% trust that they know their craft and that they're skilled in this. And then it only takes a little bit of training to get tied in with the team to understand if you're all at that same level. It takes a long time to build that skill, but once you have a baseline, learning these nonverbal communication skills, it's super important, and then it's super applicable to every team you'll be on in the future, because all of those nonverbal communication skills transfer, right? Any team I link up with, a couple of days of training, as long as it's a competent team, and we can typically non-verbally communicate to take a building, right?
So you said you're taking as much distance from the threshold as possible.
Yeah.
Say you have an obstacle right there,
Okay.
and you're coming from here. Are you gonna cut your distance short with it and continue, or are you gonna take that extra distance as soon as you passed it and then continue?
I mean, you know what I'm gonna say. It depends.
Yeah, sure.
It absolutely depends. The question is, in this case, is, am I still effective? Am I still lethal? And can I still communicate to my partner without making things weird, right? So, if we're coming down, right, we're doing a 1-man, 2-man here. And let's say we ran the rabbit, we'll get into what that is later, but he's coming up on this wall, I'm coming up here, and I'm gonna sweep across, right? And that tire's there. So I'm gonna be jam aligned. I can see out of the corner of my eye that that tire is there, right? So we're coming in. Now, I'm just gonna stay wide, completely go around it, right? But the entire obstacle is there. If I'm here and I lose it in my peripheral, which this is about the spot where I lose it in my shoulder, and it takes more effort to observe that that tire exists than to stay jam aligned. Because right now I'm jam aligned and I can see the edge of the tire, but it's taking effort to perceive where it is in space, right? So now I either commit to going behind it, commit to going in front of it, or I go over it. With a tire, I'm not going over it because I'm probably gonna trip, and that's gonna make false communication and make it hard for me to stay lethal, right? So if I can't go backwards, I go forwards. If I can go backwards, I'll do that and just maintain space. There's no reason not to just come all the way back here, right? No reason to take up all the space, right?
You have that obstacle, right? If you go behind it, you go wide, right? You gain the angular advantage because you're further away from the obstacle. Do you lose anything by having that thing in front of you?
I mean, if your guy was ready to move and you were behind it, and all of a sudden something happens, now you have this in between you and the threshold.
Yeah.
And you got to navigate it before you can help him into the room. But
What's something that would happen?
he would just rush in, which it wouldn't
So
be very smart.
who is that on?
Yeah.
That's your homeboy.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not gonna say that the right answer is for him to learn by dying.
Sure.
But that's fucked.
Yeah.
Right?
The correct answer is not do a less effective maneuver because you can't trust your partner,
Sure.
right? No matter what, if you are going to go into a lethal environment with a gun up, you have to trust your partner. You have to trust your team. And if you can't do that, then you need to either get in a position where you can do that, rectify it some way, training, talking, whatever, or change your team. Because otherwise, if you are degrading your choices because of your team's capabilities, you're failing them as a leader, and you are failing yourself by completely degrading the entire operation.
Sure.
Right? So don't let the possibility of your teammate failing you be the reason you choose to fail. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
there's no like decent, reasonable reason why you would ever have to charge over that tire.
Sure.
Right, if you take fire, your safety is not forward and back.
Yeah.
Your safety is side to side.
Yeah.
And the tire's not in the way.
Sure.
If we were talking about something super hasty,
Yeah.
super dynamic, we're talking hostage rescue where I'm throwing a banger into every room, like 5 bangers into every room, and then just rushing and bypassing shit, doing all sorts of crazy stuff, whatever. Then like, you wouldn't be over there in the first place,
Yeah.
right? You'd be here ready to go in the door.
I'm not sweeping.
Yeah.
No, your pie
Yeah.
is you going into the door, and then your homie's pie is all the other stuff because he's naturally going the opposite
Sure.
direction. So the obstacle, I would say 9 times out of 10, I'm going wide.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I can think of would be if it's like dark under nods, I can see the tire, but I can't see what's behind it.
Sure.
I'd rather not take my chances because I know that my footwork's clear.
Okay.
So the it depends is, can you perceive your environment?
Okay.
If the answer is no, then take the safe route.